What kind of player the Jets get in Fashanu?
Well, first off, you can't teach 6'6", right? That helps. And at the end of the day, you're talking about what Joe Douglas and Salah said. It's about keeping 8 upright. So they answered the bell in that regard. But he's a patient pass blocker. Has all the skills, has the length. You show he's going to compete. And what I think what's impressive about a young guy, especially in pass protection, is his ability to finish, man. Like that's more of an attitude of want to, and he displays that. I think for the Jets right now, it's about getting him acclimated right away, because you don't know the status of Tyron Smith. You know, this is a guy who's missed multiple games throughout his career. If for whatever Tyron's not able to get on the field, you got to get this young fella ready to go. So hopefully he gets in the building, he gets in the playbook, and he's ready to rock and roll.
All right, so Connor, he kind of talked about it a little bit, the Jets' depth on the offensive line. We'll get into some of the other positions that the Jets may still be looking at later in the show. But just in terms of the offensive line, how important did you think it was to shore it up, even though right now on paper you've got a starting 5?
Major. And I think what I'm surprised with is the hysteria of people that feel differently. Do people forget about what this team looked like last year? I know Aaron Rodgers' Achilles injury can mask some of these issues, but this was an offensive line that was a disaster during training camp last year. Remember the expletive-filled rant that we saw from Robert Saleh on Hard Knocks, and then it just got worse and worse and worse when the injury bug took to them like an all-you-can-eat buffet. I mean, I know the Jets went out there and signed Tyron Smith. He has not played a full season since 2015. I know they went out there and got Morgan Moses. His body began to break down as a 33-year-old towards the end of that season with the Ravens. If anything happens to one of these two players this year in training camp and OTAs early in the season, they're turning to Max Mitchell and Carter Warren to protect Aaron Rodgers. We saw what that looked like last year. So what Joe Douglas did when he was not able to get a receiver, which is what he wanted, Rome Odunze, that was the guy he wanted. When he wasn't able to get him, he pivoted to the offensive line. It was the right move because it not only solidifies the Jets for this year with an insurance policy, but it also gets your long-term future at left tackle moving forward.
Yeah, and then also they're building a young core and foundation on the offensive line. You're talking about having Olu Fashanu, now Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera-Tucker's coming back. Hopefully he stay healthy. On top of that, you're building if the Tyron, John Simpson, and Morgan Moses aren't ready, for whatever, they kind of phase out. Now you have a core of young guys who can step on in and they don't miss a beat.
All right, now, Connor, you mentioned that the #1 target was Rome Odunze. He goes prior to the Jets having the opportunity to take him. Did they try to trade up to get Rome Odunze?
Yeah, they did. They tried to go to number 6 with the Giants. They tried to go up there. The Giants just were not interested in trading back, which makes sense because we talked about this on the pre-draft show, Steve. It was that what did the Jets have to offer? It was picks in next year's draft because they didn't have a second-round pick in this year's draft. That's not really all that appealing for a Giants team that's looking to add playmakers and players this year. So the Giants, they had no interest. When it got down to their pick and they were 1 away from potentially getting him with the Bears, they tried to move up with Chicago. Only Chicago wanted Odunze as well, so they didn't move back. So what the Jets did was they stuck to their board. Olu Fashanu was the next highest player there, and they went out there and got him. We talked about this, again, on the pre-draft show. There was nothing that was going to happen for the Jets going to number 10 that was going to have them taking a player that they didn't need. This wasn't like last year when they landed on Will McDonald. There was going to be someone there that was going to help this team, and they got one.
Yeah, and Willie, for me, I mean, it's just one of those things, too, where I know sometimes people want the sexy pick, but you can never go wrong when you're just trying to enhance the offensive line. Here are the first 5 offensive linemen that went in the first round of the 2024 draft. But, yeah, again, for me, I mean, I said it on the pre-draft show. I've said it for years. Just take offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, one thing that handicapped this team from really going into the playoffs was the offensive line play. Now you're talking about an offensive line that has the quality starting line, has a quality starting lineup and quality depth, which you need. And I think right now it's about, as much as you want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, it's about getting Breece Hall going, right? It's about getting him getting north and south, because so many times we watched that. Me and you said here with Bart and Connor, at the end of those pressers, you saw the life starting to seek out of that young man's eyes, and he's a big-time running back. And so right now it's about if Aaron Rodgers, who we expect to be a world beater, but now you give him Breece Hall with an offensive line that can complement both. Now you can talk about the Jets as a legit contender and possibly not even winning the AFC Championship, but getting into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know they wanted Rome Odunze, Connor. I'm happy the way this broke.
I think he's the better pick.
Yeah, I think everybody's happy.
Yeah.
All right, so the Jets, by the way, they did make a trade. They moved back 1 spot to let the Vikings jump ahead and take quarterback J.J. McCarthy. In turn, Minnesota sent Joe Douglas a 4th-round pick and a 5th-round pick for this year. The Jets send back a 6th-round pick. So the Jets
the Zach Wilson pick, by the way. That's the Zach Wilson pick.
That's the Zach Wilson pick, okay. How about that? So the Jets remain without a 2nd-rounder for now, but they do have 3 picks in the 4th. Plenty of room to continue to move as the days progress here.